Well, it's a great day to be with you. Thanks for joining me today. I am Charlotte Bergman, your host for Political Talk with Charlotte. Our show airs every Thursday at noon, and I am so glad that you've joined me today. If you want to reach out to me, have a problem with something that I say, or even want to compliment something I've said, just send me an email at charlotte@charlottebergman.com. You can check me out on Facebook. I have two pages, electbergman.com and charlotte.bergman.com. Between both of those pages, we have about 8,000 viewers that could view our show. Bitchute, Political Talk with Charlotte, Twitter, at Elect Bergman, YouTube, at Bergman for Congress, and Twitch. Oh, no, we've deleted Twitch. I found out that they don't like political topics. So we've got another social media site that we're about to add. Now, if you're new to the channel, please leave a comment and or subscribe to my channel on either YouTube and Rumble. Certainly you can do it on Facebook, but YouTube and Rumble will certainly send you a notification whenever we go live. And as you receive those notifications, please share them with others who may be interested in gaining knowledge about what's going on in our nation. Guys, you have no idea how much I appreciate you, how much I love you for your support. I want to ask that you please comment and share my videos. And then on top of that, you know my book, The Last Trumpet in the Battle for America. I hope you have read it. And if you've read it and you are finished with it, please share it with somebody that could learn a thing or two, because I'm going to discuss a few topics that most people are aware of, but they tend to try to ignore it. Oh, thank you all for joining me. I appreciate you guys. Who do we have here? Oh, we have Daisy. You go, Daisy. You're out of school. Good afternoon to you. It is afternoon. And Noni, thank you for being here. I appreciate you too. And for those who do not leave a comment, I appreciate the fact that you even have an opportunity to view my show. I have seen messages from people who say, "Oh, I'm sorry I missed it." Well, I want you to know, and the reason I tell you about where the show is located is you can go to the sites and you can view the show, and it doesn't have to be live. Now, everybody knows that politics is a number. It's a game of numbers. And in a democracy, the most effective way to win is to align yourself with the majority. And that's where the 80-20 issue comes in. And Democrats, I don't think they're doing a good job when it comes to the 80-20 issues. Let me explain to you a little bit more. See, those political fights where 80% of Americans agree on one side while only 20% back the other. Now, which of these areas, which are the Democrats aligning themselves with the 80% of Americans or the 20%? Please share your comments below. The party that stakes out the 80% position secures a commanding political advantage, while the party clinging to the unpopular 20% is left flailing. And Democrats are definitely putting themselves on the wrong side of the 80-20 issues. And it's common sense, which is an 80% issue, to not allow men to play in women's sports. Wouldn't you agree? It is common sense for children's bodies not to be manipulated and to be mutilated. Wouldn't you agree? It is common sense that criminal aliens, illegal aliens, should be removed from our country. I'm talking about those people who murder, who carjack, who steal, who rape. Those people need to be moved from our country. But Is that the side that Democrats are on? Nah. It is common sense that money made by illegals while they are in this country, it should stay in this country and help grow our government. But no, they sent it back to Mexico. And the president of Mexico loves it. And she is going to be angry if the Mexicans who are working here stop sending their money back in the form of remittance. Now, today we celebrate Juneteenth. And this is why I'm focusing on this. When you think about Juneteenth, remember to think of Republican. I said it, not a Democrat. Back during the 70s, we had Republicans who were afraid of people like Jesse Jackson, who just stole their legacy. So Republicans allowed the Democrats to take over, and they've done a good job, but it's time to tell the truth. You see, the 13th Amendment abolished slavery. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery. This is after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. The Emancipation Proclamation was signed. After that, the 13th Amendment was passed. 100% of Republicans supported the 13th Amendment and helped pass that bill. If we needed to rely on Democrats, which was only 23%, the bill would have failed. So 100% of Republicans voted for the 13th Amendment to abolish slavery. That means my great-great-grandmother was set free. And my great-grandfather had an opportunity to become a sharecropper and to start his business on the side to take care of his family. The 15th Amendment provides the right to vote for everybody. And guess what? 100% of Republicans voted for that. And 0% of Democrats voted for it. And then the 14th Amendment, that provides citizenship for freed slaves. This amendment has been changed throughout the years, but that's because of hidden agendas. Well, 94% of Republicans voted for it, and 0% of Democrats voted for it. So you may say, oh, that's all well and good. And this was a shock to me. Noni, what are you saying? 20% because the Democrat politicians left Christ behind. Like, I'm going to discuss the lie, that big lie, the myth of the Republican Party members who did all of that good, according to Democrats, and they have brainwashed our people to believe that the Democrats switched with the Republicans. That was a switch. Guys, have you heard of that term? A leopard can't change its spots. A leopard can't change its spots. You take those spots off a leopard, they're still a leopard. You take the Democrats who claim to have switched, they're still Democrats. And what happened when that quote unquote switch occurred? A total of 21 Democrats in the Senate opposed the Civil Rights Act. 21 Democrats in the Senate opposed the Civil Rights Act. Now remember, that was a large number. What do we have? 50 senators, and 21 of them opposed the Civil Rights Act. But here's where they have brainwashed people and tricked them. Yeah, I say it, they tricked them. Only one of them was a Dixiecrat. And this is what they're telling people to get their votes, to get people to vote against their values. They're saying Dixiecrats became Republicans. Well, that's a lie. Strom Thurmond was the only Dixiecrat who became a Republican. And the rest of them, including Tennessee's only Al Gore Sr. and Robert Byrd, a former exalted Cyclops in the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan. The Dixiecrats, the Democrats were affiliated with the KKK. Well, they remained Democrats until the day they died. Boy, we've been so brainwashed, kind of like what happened with Eve in the Garden of Eden. She was brainwashed, and that just messed up our lives for years to come until Christ came and corrected it. Democrats have been telling you that Dixiecrats became Republican. They always take a lie, and there's only one grain of truth in it to allow them to twist the truth. Only one, Strom Thurmond, ever became a Democrat. And all of those other 21 Democrats that were in the Senate, they remained Democrats. They remain Democrats. So you're still dealing with Democrats today. And they are the ones that are not using common sense and are getting you to vote for them just because they say that they are looking out for you. Moreover, of those 20 lifelong Democrats, they retired. Their Senate seats remain in Democrat hands for several decades afterwards. So too did the overwhelming majority of the House seats in the South until 1994. That's when Newt Gingrich was the Speaker of the House. And that's when we had some changes that made life better for everybody. That's when a Republican wave election swept the GOP into control of the House for the first time since 1952, before Eisenhower. 1994 was also the first time Republicans ever held a majority of House seats in the South. And then for 30 years after that came the passage of the Civil Rights Act. And a majority of Republicans voted for that, and Democrats did not. Now, I'm getting to the main topic, but before I do that, guys, we need to be aware that we've been lied to. We've been lied to. We have been lied to. Uh-oh. Noni is reporting that we got some buffering, and it looks like a lot of you guys are out there. I appreciate you guys. I want to show if you guys, Democrats continue to lie to this day. They lied about Joe Biden and Joe Biden's health. Remember, he was a Democrat. He is a Democrat. They lied to us. And now what they're doing is they're trying to say, well, he was a Democrat. He probably had mental challenges, but nobody cares. I want to show you guys this, and I want you to tell me, do you care? Do you care that Joe Biden was not fighting for our country? And I'll tell you why it's important.
What do you make of the Republicans holding this hearing on President Biden's cognitive abilities tomorrow and talking about the 25th?
This is the kind of coarseness that America doesn't like. And they're just unrelenting in diversionary actions. This has nothing to do with cutting Medicaid costs, cutting Medicaid.
Okay, guys, this just irks me. They follow the same old playbook. They get caught in doing something dirty, something corrupt, and then they take it back to cutting Medicaid, cutting Social Security, when they know that those are core items that people care about, and they think that they have a monopoly on that, and they figure that if they say that, then the people would like them.
Helping clean energy, keeping hungry kids fed.
What do you make of the Republicans holding this hearing on President Biden's cognitive abilities tomorrow and talking about the 25th?
This is the kind of coarseness.
See, that reporter asked about whether people cared about Biden's cognizant issues
that America doesn't like. and they're just unrelenting in diversionary actions. This has nothing to do with cutting Medicaid costs, cutting Medicaid help, helping clean energy, keeping hungry kids fed.
What do you make?
See, he is such a liar. Such a liar. Sorry about the buffering, Noni. When they come out to us and try to keep us from hearing the truth, we will not back down. We will not resist. We will resist. We will hang in there because they cannot stop us. What are you saying, Cindy? We care. Absolutely, Cindy. We care. We care because, geez, Joe Biden did some really, really crazy things. Joe Biden covered up crime. Joe Biden potentially issued sweeping pardons and other conducted executive actions that billions of American people are suffering from. Billions of dollars were sent to Ukraine. Billions of dollars were spent on illegal aliens. Billions of dollars of our money, your money, was spent because we didn't have a president. So we need to know the truth. Was he cognizant or not? Was he aware of what was going on or not? I want to show you that people are waking up. People are waking up in droves, and they're not buying that crap anymore about how the Democrats are trying to blow smoke up our heinies.
So let's call a spade a spade. The Democratic Party is turning its constituents into terrorists, and they're doing it on purpose. The constant rhetoric that creates fear will eventually turn into hate, which we already see. And if that hate is allowed to fester long enough, it will turn into desperation, which then leads into violence. What I'm saying is eventually, all of the Democratic supporters will get to a point where they feel like the unaliving of Trump, the cabinet, and all of their supporters will be the saving of America. And the Democratic Party knows that if they continue to spread fear and confusion and chaos, that their constituents will eventually become chaotic. They will become rioters. They will become terrorists. And we're seeing that more and more each day. This is what they want. People like Harry Sisson and Aaron Parnes are being paid to turn the Democratic supporters into terrorists. At some point, they will feel like the unaliving of MAGA, of anybody who supports Trump, would be a positive thing for America. This is where they're going. This is how demented this party is. The Democratic Party is America's Hamas.
Guys, they don't know what to do with us now, especially minorities like myself. They are pissed that we are not bowing down and just going along with everything that they say. Now, granted, they still have some power. I mean, look at it. They had the No Kings protest. They had the LA protest. And the media is going along with them. Were you aware that during the No Kings protest, there were two things that happened that I have not really been able to hear being shared on the media? And I'm going to say that the No Kings protest was a total failure. And a lot of it had to do with things that went on that we didn't know about. And we should be really appreciative of the fact that the military and the California National Guard were there to protect California. Because right now, with all of the damage that occurred in California. And their police were not, there were not enough of their policemen there to be able to hold back the crowd. And if it had been left only to the police, we would have had another summer of love like we had in 2020. There were major damages in California, and they want to put it on President Trump. And we can see with our own eyes that's a lie. Okay, so were you aware that there were shots fired at a No Kings protest in Salt Lake City, Utah? Were you aware that there were actual shots fired? Now, the National Guard has been on site at various locations, especially in California, but they've got rubber bullets, not real guns. A protester took a real gun and fired and killed a man in Salt Lake City, Utah. Did you hear about that? Did you hear about the 2 Democrat lawmakers who were assassinated in Minnesota because one of them was a deciding vote against legislation that Tim Walz is opposed to? Did you hear about that? Did you hear about Walz, political appointee, is now in custody, and he's the prime suspect in the assassination? And so Democrats are all upset, just like they told us all the Democrats became Republicans. Well, they're trying to say the suspect was a Republican. But tell me something, guys. As liberal as Walz is, do you think he would have put a Republican? He would have appointed a Republican to his administration? I don't think so. Poor Melissa Hortman voted no on free health care for illegals, and she was killed shortly after that. That is the crux of why she and her husband was murdered. And you say, well, there were 4 people that were shot and 2 were killed. The first 2 were shot. That was a diversionary tactic because they weren't killed. Melissa Hortman was targeted, and she was killed, and she was killed for voting to not provide free health care for illegals. The other reason I say that the No Kings protest was a failure, was a bust, is because although you saw all of those people being shown on television, guess where they were? They were in blue states and blue cities. They were in blue states and blue cities. And what I find very ironic, it was mostly liberal, elderly, on walkers with canes. They were the ones, many of them have been out protesting common sense. I remember back in the 60s, you had hippies. Well, these are the hippies. They've gotten old, but they're still protesting, and they're protesting against yours and my values. Democrats are the party of violence. They pretend they aren't. They pretend by posting canned messages like, there is no place for violence in America, blah, blah, blah. But we all know how Democrats really feel. Democrats have hate in their hearts, and they encourage and support the violence against MAGA on a daily basis. And then it's like a sister or brother, especially when you're bad brothers. If you had big brothers and sisters like I did, there was 10 of us. They go out and they do something wrong, and then they'll put it on you. They're putting it on you. They're saying you did it. Let me tell you something. If a Christian is still voting for the Democrat Party, you need to stop sleeping in church. You need to wake up and see what's going on. It's your responsibility to see what's going on. See what else I have. Okay, let's get back to Juneteenth. And, went over this. Remember to thank a Republican. 100% of Republicans voted for the 13th Amendment. 100% of Republicans voted for the 15th Amendment. 94% of Republicans voted for citizenship for freed slaves. That should have been 100%, but at least it passed. Now, guys, we need to be aware of what's going on, and we need to make sure that we see what's going on in Iran. The parliament, MPs burn the American flag while chanting "Death to America." Don't play, because they are not playing. They are not playing, and they are serious. They bombed a church today in Israel. They are out for blood, kind of like the Democrat Party. I want you guys to see this for yourself. I don't want you guys to say, well, Charlotte is telling you something and you cannot believe it. That's the American flag. Death to America. Don't you dare believe that they have our best interests at heart, because they do not. Now, my main story that I wanted to get to is about our dear friend, Jonathan Scometti. Jonathan has been out fighting for the children. We have got to thank Jonathan, because he took some heat, but he stood strong. And he told me, Charlotte, he said, I love this job. He said, I wake up every morning thanking God that I have this job. I enjoy fighting for right. And I want to say thank you, Jonathan. Let's hear what is being said about Tennessee.
Oral arguments took place last fall. I want to put up the Associated Press. This is their headline. They say this, that the Supreme Court upholds a Tennessee ban on gender-affirming care for transgender minors and what they describe as a huge setback for transgender rights. This ruling was 6-3 along ideological lines. Well, Fox News' Rebecca Castor has more. Let's listen.
Protect trans kids! Protect trans kids! It's a case that brought hundreds to the steps of the Supreme Court back in December to advocate for protecting children. But the two sides differ on what that looks like.
I have kids who need support, and it changes their lives when you give them this kind of gender-affirming care, and it saves lives.
To allow them to make a decision that will affect not only the entire course of the development physically, psychologically, and reproductively is completely ridiculous.
These people are truly demonic, and they have been deceived.
Justices had to consider a Tennessee law that bans puberty blockers and hormone therapy for kids who want to transition. The Biden administration argued the law is discriminatory, but the Supreme Court ultimately ruled it's constitutional.
How Texas families can eat whatever they want.
So is that your mom?
No, that's my grandma.
Wait, what? How old?
Got it absolutely wrong. And as a material matter, it's devastating for the people who are most affected.
Writing for the majority, Chief Justice John Roberts says the law does not prohibit conduct for one sex that it permits for the other. Under SB 1, no minor may be administered puberty blockers or hormones to treat gender dysphoria, gender identity disorder, or gender incongruence. All three liberal justices oppose the ruling.
This Supreme Court seems to have forgotten that one of their jobs is to protect individual rights and protect individuals from being discriminated against, it's an awful decision.
More than 24 states have some type of ban on transgender treatments for minors. This ruling allows those laws to remain in effect. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Okay, guys, tell me below what you think. Are you appreciative of Jonathan going out and just fighting for our children? Yes, the court's ruling has a major implication for pending transgender cases. One of those cases just resulted in a major ruling against the move by the Trump administration to restore the binary options of male and female sex designations on passports. Sex designations on passport. I posted on my Facebook page the fact that Scotus made this ruling. And I had a couple of liberals to come on my page. And one of the liberals wanted to know, will this affect all young children? Well, as a mother of 3 children and multiple grandchildren and great-grandchildren, I'll say this. I love my grandchildren. I love my children. And if they feel that this is what they want to do, after all that I've taught them, after the example I've set for them, and they want to do it, I'm not going to stop them. But they have to wait until they're adults. They have to wait until they're adults. And chances are, during that time frame, by the time they are adults, they are in a position to make this decision by themselves. But you've got liberal parents who are forcing their young children to go through this excruciating surgery and the medication that they have to take. And then later, after they become adults, they regret what they've done. So give them time. Noni, you're saying praise God. And I said praise God too, for giving children a chance. She said kids, that giveaway that they're being manipulated by that mom. She needs help. She's under a demonic rule. Yes, why? We won a big one. Daisy, wow, unbelievable. Daisy, I agree with you. We want to thank Jonathan. Jonathan, he's a good guy. He's a good guy, and I'm glad he was selected to serve as our Attorney General, representing the great state of Tennessee. So I am Charlotte Bergman. I want to thank you all for joining me. I want to thank you all and hope that you guys have a great week. I anticipate having a great week too. Thanks for being my friends, most of all. You inspire me. I learned so much from you.